Eso deep, eso deep, So, welcome everyone to yet another episode of Through the Magical Doors. I'm Samaya Adeline, your host, and I'm super excited to be having as my guest today the wonderful Lisa Phillips. Lisa, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. I'm so happy to be on with you.
Really, I was so looking forward to having you on, and it's been in my mind for months now, and I can't say that before introducing you properly and letting people know more about you. I can't remember exactly where we met. I know you were obviously part of my membership mystery school for a while, but I don't remember exactly the meeting point where that was. I'm just really happy that we've met. And let me tell you a little bit about Lisa, actually. So Lisa Phillips is a mother and an expert based in Virginia Beach in the US. And what I love about Lisa is that she combines her spiritual wisdom and prowess with her out of the box yet super practical approach to help particularly African American professionals build wealth through her clever system of real estate investment as well as her cryptocurrency strategies. So she coaches, she trains, and she educates through her ever-growing video blog, as well as her online training center, her coaching, group coaching, and one-to-one coaching, and speaking gigs as well. So Lisa, welcome. It's really wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. So I know where we met actually.
Oh, yeah?
So I was working with an angelic healer,
Uh-huh.
Christina Aroche, and I was like, I need some shaman friends. You know any? She's like, yeah, Samaya, she's great.
Oh
And
my
so I
God.
sort of reached out and friended you, and so we sort of like follow each other. And when I post things more spiritual, you always respond, which is great that
Yeah.
the universe always gravitates you towards that. And when you did something, I was always having fun participating with you. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually where it came from. But I'm very happy because, like I
Love
said, I
it.
need people like you on my timeline sometimes for certain questions, and every single time it's a spiritual one. You
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
came forward.
And vice versa, actually, because there was so much that obviously I want to get into. I really love the work that you do, and I want to ask you a little bit about, I know you went into your six figures in cryptocurrency in 3 years, and what I love though about you, Lisa, is that you have such a beautiful way of integrating and conveying information that feels complicated, but conveying it in such a beautiful energetic way that it's like you've said it, it's energetic learning. You've made some really complex things really feel very accessible, and I don't know, but I have a sense that's partly the one of the things why you're so
Oh,
successful.
it's one of the gifts
It's
that's it was
certainly one of the
given.
gaps, and I
It was
just
one of
love.
the reasons I'm here.
Yeah, and just again that integration of also like divine wisdom, divine feminine, kind of doing this work that you're doing, and I kind of, before asking you a little bit about how you got into, first of all, real estate investment, because I feel there's something about that story, your personal story with this, that was like an activating point. But I'd love to first ask you a little bit about, in terms of your audience and the people who come to either work with you or followers and people who learn from you, what is kind of the percentage? How many of these people tend to be people who are sort of also kind of really into manifestation, love attractions, the
Yeah.
spirituality, and how many do they tend to be just kind of real straightforward? Nope, I want to know all about investing. I want to know all about cryptocurrency.
Right. So I spent the last since 2013 building this platform, focusing on just getting the information out to Black professionals, especially investing in low income minority neighborhoods, because, like I said, most of us come from that. And so you build this platform over 10 years. You're just giving out knowledge, you're helping
Oh,
people. You write a book, your platform just starts to organically grow. And then since 2016, I've been on this sort of like accelerated spiritual development. I remember where it started, where I'm like, one day I was like, hey, God, show me this is all real, right? All this spirituality stuff. And I was shown very, very clearly. And I was like, oh, okay, got you. And then I just started on that path, asking you shall receive. Um, And so the last 5 years, it's very interesting because I just come out a little bit more, test the waters a little bit, because I can have a quite conservative Black clientele ish, but however, this is a part of me. So I just slowly started introducing it. And now I would say before it seemed about 20%, but now a good 50%, because when I coach now, I incorporate a lot of manifestation and mindset techniques.
Mhm.
So when we start, I ask them their favorite way to manifest. Do you speak it? Do you do yoga? Do you script it? Do you write it? Do you visualize it? Do you just map out a plan in your head? And I find out from them and get from them. And 95% of people know how they manifest the best.
Wow.
5% it's like, I don't know. And so I'm just like, all right, this is what I want you to do. And then keeping their mindset focused on what they want. And you can literally see it during like an 8-week coaching session. They might get down a little bit, but I get them into the mindset. Well, what do you want? What are we doing this for? I want you to focus and bring that energy in, and it can get them over the lump to success, right? Without getting beat down because they didn't get immediate results, but having that resilience to go until they do. So now I say about pretty much everyone I attract at this point is both interested in real estate and that I work with, and is open to the metaphysical, or have a story like, yeah, when I manifested X, this is exactly how I do it. So I'm just getting more people in, maybe it's just I'm getting more people in alignment, but definitely there's a filter now. And I do get people who are energetically open to just expansion and mindset and have seen it in their life. So I'm not like brand new with them. And that has been beautiful because I don't have to hold back, and I could just go, hey, we got to get you in the energy of what we want, because I see, and I tell them, and I just have to tell them, you have to trust me. When
Mhm.
your energy is in that joyful place about what we're doing and manifesting, it's just going to be a lot easier. And when they do trust me and they get rid of like, oh, I didn't get immediate results, the next day or the next week, they have the breakthrough, right? Like right on our coaching calls, from one week to the next, they can be super sad. I didn't see anything and I
Yeah.
don't know if I can do this. And then the next week, they're like, Lisa, after we talk, and I did that prayer or mindset or script, or I just sat down and focused on what I want, I swear the next day, boom. And I'm like, that's how my life works. So yeah, I
Yeah.
believe you.
And
But
it's
it's
great
really cool.
because it sounds like, in a way, even what you said at the beginning, which is that the even the simple thing of like, we think it's simple, but it's so powerful, of intention setting, right? Like
Yeah.
really getting clear about what we're working towards, what we're moving towards, how we gonna like even go there if we're not necessarily even like claiming it that it's something that we want. So that in itself is a real thing. So and from what you're saying, also that kind of process of sort of trust and surrender being
Mhm.
a very integral part of the process as well, right? Creating that sacred space.
Yeah.
I
And,
really
and
love
and
that.
sometimes I tell them, just trust me that this works.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah,
I built that, so I use it. I'm like, listen, if you're not into all this, that's okay. But if you're into me, you have to trust me that it works if you're a
yeah,
little hesitant,
yeah.
okay?
I love
And can
that.
you do that? And generally, by the time people meet me, if they read a book, they've been watching me for a year or two, there is a level where I can ask that. But like I said, it always, that one, all that train always comes on time when they could shift. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
So
that's it,
it's okay for me to
confidence.
ask for it.
But that's confidence, right? That you're really grounded and you know the stuff that you're teaching works, and you're confident to really hold that space for them to do this work. So that's true leadership. That's really good.
Right.
That's really beautiful.
You said something, Samaya, and this is why I love working with you.
Yeah.
You just bring a richness and a depth to what I'm already doing. You said energetic learning, and I'm like, that's the word. It's so funny because when I teach, I swear I tell people it's not just what I say, because the people who talk to me the most, and this is just me sensing, I haven't like channeled into it, but you sort of know the results. Like if you're around me a lot, even if we're not really talking, you pick up on everything I have and they run with it. And so it's funny when people read my stuff, my book or my trainings, they'll read them a few times. And I'm just aware that's because energetically they could only absorb so much. And then the next layer of energy, if they do it again, they can absorb more. And then they get to this point where there's like enlightenment. But it's funny you said it, because I never thought of it that way. I just knew that there was like an energetic component to the transfer of information. Simply just like the more you're around me, the more successful and faster they are. And it's literally like an energetic learning. So thank you for that new term.
No,
I never knew it, but I knew what it was, and I worked with it and was like, watch this a few times. Trust me, each time a new layer will or do this a few times, each time a layer will appear to you that you just couldn't see. But energetic learning is exactly what I do. And thank you for the term that
I
didn't
think
know.
no, a pleasure, but I think that's one of my gifts, to really kind of really read energy well for people, to see what's really going on. And I think that because you embody the information you convey, you do, but also you have the gift of energetic learning, you help activate that in other people. And I think that's beautiful, because I think there's only so much we can take through our heads, through our minds,
Yes.
through our intellect. There's only so much we can process. The energetic part of who we are is such a strong part. And unless this activates, and it's not about this versus that, I think it's very much working in synergy, right? Like once they're energy, it's like people feel like they go into these unnecessary debates. I don't know if you like resonate with this, like science versus spirituality, this versus that. And I feel like, dude, like
I do both.
This versus this.
No, it's both.
Activate your intuition, activate your energetic kind of body, and everything else plays with it really beautifully. It doesn't work against it. So I would love to know, I've got a few questions that I want to ask. Like, as I said, I prepared for this.
And I didn't answer the real estate question.
Oh, yeah,
That real quick? I'm so sorry. I was just excited about this term
Me
I've been
too.
doing, and you put a word to, and it's literally been 10 years of it. So thank you. So real estate, this was very activating as well. I got out of college and I was in Las Vegas, and all the houses from 2000 2006 when I was in college just shot through the roof. And you guys know that was like a really big inflated housing bubble. Everybody was getting loans. I got a 0% loan on a ridiculously expensive house. I was like, shouldn't have bought it. But I was like, okay, no, we can do this, because the prices of houses are just going to keep going up, right? Because that's what happens. And in theory, that can be true, but not in certain places. So I had to learn a lot. And so I purchased a house, and then in 2006, and then in 2007, 2008, I went through like a couple of layoffs, and I couldn't keep it anymore. And I had to lose it to foreclosure. Wow. And what had happened was in those 2 years, I had gotten one job and then another job in Ohio. So I was in Ohio when I got laid off a second time, and this overinflated house was worth half its value. And I was like, I'm not waiting 20 years for $200,000 of value to come back, right? And I just had to let the house go. But like you said, I look back at it and I was like, wow, it really spurred me on a path that has been very abundant in different ways, not only for me and other people, because it forced me to go, well, I can't get a mortgage for 7 years. What can I do? Well, I make X amount a year. If I save up half my money, I can buy houses in these price ranges. And at the time, people had, and they still do actually have a very negative connotation towards low income and minority homes and neighborhoods, which actually been in the business for 10 years. I get it. Like, it's not for everybody, but I come from these neighborhoods. So the people I attract to me are first generation people who are like, we came from low income minority neighborhoods, possibly projects, possibly working class, right? So I just attracted that audience to me. And there's just a lot of us out there who wanted to invest, and we can do it in a modest priced home that's 30, 40, 50,000 in a minority neighborhood, because we just resonate with the culture and people, because that's where our family and friends and cousins still live, right? Like, they still live there, so so it makes sense for us to go into these disenfranchised low income communities, because we understand it better. And at a lower price range, we can actually afford it. And sometimes it's good. Other people who went into it who were not as familiar with the culture really got in trouble, because I don't only talk about the numbers and investments, I also talk about class navigation. Like, we come from this. I understand these people. This is how you use your intuition. This is how you size up a neighborhood. Some things you can't teach, right? You're just born knowing. And the people I navigate were like, listen, I lived in Brooklyn. There were some blocks you just walked really fast, and some blocks you were cool in, and you just had to be able to size that up. So I teach that in addition to the numbers. So it really makes sense for my clients to be going in these neighborhoods versus someone who's really high end. who doesn't know how to navigate around certain people because they don't have any familiarity, well, that just breeds a whole bunch of conflict, right? Because sometimes with class, you could be like aliens and we do this the way this, and here you do things this way. Well, in this neighborhood, if you don't say hi to somebody, you're a jerk and you'll be treated as such for the rest of our stay together. And I'm going to assume the worst. Whereas in this neighborhood, well, we don't sit there and talk to everybody we see on the street, right? And it's just like, well, in one area, you're weird. In the other area, you're racist and classist, and you didn't even know. And that's just one example. There's others. But I know how to navigate low income neighborhoods because I lived in it. So, you know what I mean? So that's who I attract to go back to those neighborhoods, but that's who should be in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And when you kind of went into this journey, when did it start? Which kind of year was it?
So
When you invested in your own property, your own first property.
Yeah. So I bought my first and I lost that one to foreclosure. And I was like, I got 7 years. And then that was around 2009.
Right.
I had bought like a condo for $35,000 and I was like, well, this exists. And I was okay. Like I said, I was okay with the neighborhood. You might not be, but I'm cool. So that's when I realized, you know, there's opportunity there, especially for first generation who are like just one step away, you know, or one, like our parents still live in these low income minority, either projects or whatever, to go back and invest in them once we got a little bit of money affordably.
Yeah. And so now tell me a little bit about, you went into helping other people. So you understood the strategy, you understood what works through your knowledge, through your own experience, and you've developed a whole kind of niche around this, right? And I remember even like Times Magazine has like written about you and about the work that you do, which is really wonderful. And so now you have a whole training system that you take people through to feel safe about making those investments and navigating through this territory. So tell me more about that. What kind of shape is it in? Is it like part of your online training thing, or how do you go about if people like, oh, I want more of this, I want to know how to do this? How do you do that?
I like the word you use, safe.
Yeah. Because I mean,
that. Yeah,
it's
safe.
a big thing, right? To feel safe, to get into investing in property is a big deal. And yeah, that's what kind of I feel about it, I guess.
Like I said, I love how you keep reading me. I've been doing this for 10 years and you're just like saying the words that underneath it all the talk. Yeah,
Cool.
I make you feel safe and confident. Underneath all the stuff, what am I actually doing to get you to the finish line? Make you understand that we can alleviate the risk. We can know what the risks are ahead of time and we can work around it and navigate through it. That's what I teach. But how did it start? So I started just giving out information on YouTube. And here's the funny part. So I did it once in Ohio, then I got a job in DC. And then I did it again in DC. One like 45 minutes north, one 90 minutes south in a market. 45 minutes north, 90 minutes south. I was like, okay, I got it. You can do this. It doesn't matter where you are. I figured out a system, or channeled a system where you can do this. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. And then it's a little intimidating, but I was like, I want to share this because there's people like me who are not fit for corporate America. And so at that point, there was a lot of classism. So I'm comfortable talking about it. So when you enter corporate America, it's the language of the upper class culture. And I had a working class culture, right? Which is good for having a good work ethic, but not for class navigation, not for playing politics, right? That is a more elevated thing. But here's the deal. They know that. They get off on that. They like keeping us here, not knowing those rules and those secret rules and playbooks while they stay here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we do the work, but we never get the advancement. We're never part of the good old boy networks. And they know, now that I'm aware, like, oh yeah, it's so strategic, right? But at that moment, I was like, I just don't fit corporate America, nor do I want to. And I knew there were people out there. And I was gonna go to like my local library, but I was like, I don't just want to get 10 people at a library. But YouTube was around, and there's a level of, I did have a little bit of intimidation and fear because I only had 3 properties, and I'm like, who am I to tell people about it? But I just worked around it by going, listen, I don't know everything, but I'll just talk about what I know.
I love that.
And I'm not a multi-millionaire, but I know this. I can give you your first 3 cash flowing properties for under 50K. I can do that. And I can show you how to find them, and I can show you how to navigate in them. So so for anyone out there who's worried about imposter syndrome, just focus on what you do know. So I was like, I got 3 or 4 properties.
So important. I so agree. because you
It's a
had gone
start.
through some risks through that process to get there, to be able to get those properties.
Yeah.
And that's a lot in itself. So in a way, that's the kind of like rinse and repeat process after that, right? But you had managed, and I remember hearing somewhere, I mean, in the UK, I don't know, it's different industry, obviously, but they said with property buying, because I met a guy who had like 30 properties, who owns 30 properties in the UK. And he said like the first 5 properties are the hardest to get.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
5. After that, there's a lot more
Very
easy. So you've
easy.
managed the initial hardest ones,
Mhm.
which is really, really big. So so all that happens, so you're doing your coaching around this, and you've been like, a lot of people have been learning. I've been part of the group as well, so I've been sort of like seeing this part of this journey. So tell me, how did cryptocurrency kind of crept in for you? So you're into property investment. I know you're investing in
Yeah.
gold as well.
Yeah.
But I want to know, because I think that at the time I was getting to know you, and I think it was just before you got into cryptocurrency, and
Mhm.
then like, 6 figures in like 3 years. And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
blown away, because I'll be honest with you, I never thought I'd be interested in the knowledge around it. But when I got into, you have a free course around this on your training
Oh,
online.
good. You saw it.
Oh,
Good.
I watched it. I went
Good.
through, I took notes.
Good.
But I was like looking at this thinking, my gosh, this makes actual sense to me. Like I can really do this. This makes a lot of sense. But it's also the energy and the confidence that was communicating from it that really made me feel really good and really safe. So how did you get into cryptocurrency after that? And how do you find like, I guess, running both these businesses and some of your other kind of coaching that you do now as well? I
Time
love that.
blocking. Time blocking.
Yeah.
I work on this time at this time. I work at this time and this time. And the way I
Awesome.
set it up, some can float on their own without my constant attention. And I'm like, oh, well, this particular one needs attention. So time blocking, and they sort of work where they sort of float a little bit and they're still attracting while I work on X. So that's sort of how I manage the multiple business hats. But I really like it because it's just dimensional enough for me to sort of switch gears and not get bored.
Yeah.
And they can sort of hold their own, right? Because I learned
Yeah.
how to do funnels and systems so they can float without active attention for a little bit before they need active attention. And
Yeah.
that's what helps.
Don't you think like I find that such a strong key for like that kind of success in growth being manageable is the right business model, right? So
Yeah,
a little
systems.
bit of
Yeah.
a passive income, a little bit of, or like evergreen or whatever it is, something
Yes.
that is manageable. It's not always like time in exchange of money. And but it still has enough like dynamic energy for you to want to like show up and do stuff and kind of engage with people. So what was the year that you actually got into cryptocurrency?
And let's talk about money at the end because I just sort of upped my game in the money area, and I like to share that gift with everyone else.
Oh,
Um,
love to.
Take notes. So I started actively in 2017, although I tried to mine in 2014 when I heard about it. So I will just say crypto is spiritual. Crypto is a gift. Crypto is a gift of autonomy and free will. It's a technology that's used galactically. So we're just getting introduced to it,
Yeah.
right? It is also it's like spirituality is inherent in the cycles in the evolution. It's not quite logical, it's emotion and energetic and active work and software engineering. There was so much, I don't use this word negatively, manipulation spiritually that is can be a part of it, and I think it's beautiful. So I believe in the ethos of it. Free will and autonomy are our mandates on this earth. And I resonate with that at the highest level. Anyone who tried to control me learned the hard way. It doesn't go that way. I will get fired and not care. I will quit. I will leave a relationship. People found out the very hard way. You do not try to control me. So when you get crypto and it's like autonomous outside the government, they don't have the right. We have privacy. They try to take our right to privacy, but they don't have the right, right? Because all of the spiritual warfare is a constant try to like for us to acquiesce to their control because they can't just take it. We have to acquiesce. So it's all like constant beating down and us like spiritualists like going, well, you're not going to. And so I see crypto as so beautiful. So I believe in the ethos. I believe in you don't have the right, and I do have the right to be private. and not tax me to death, right? But that's another subject. So I believed in it. So in 2014, I tried to bind. It was too complicated. But by 2017, everyone, and I had believed in it, but I didn't know that the people on the ground had what it take to get it all the way through. So
Right.
2017 comes around 3 years later, and it went from like 3,000 to 17,000. And that was my confirmation. Like, okay, you guys did have what it took to get this through. You
Yeah.
did. I didn't know. I just where I was at that time. I just didn't think they could do it. But that was my confirmation. So it wasn't about the technology, did it work? I
Oh,
absolutely believed it did. How it was
definitely.
structured, I absolutely believed in that. I just didn't know that they could do it. But that was my proof. And so once I had that validation, I just went all in because I believe in everything about the system and how it's made to work. And so the crypto was like a learning lesson, right? Just like I always learn through crashes. Okay. I learned
Right.
real estate through my foreclosure class. I learned crypto through the crash of 2017 when it ran up to $17,000 and back to 3,000. But I had
Wow.
put a lot of money on the way up. So I was like, well, if I sell it, I don't make any money.
Yeah,
Might
right.
as well keep it. And in my mind at that time, I was like, maybe in the next 10 years, this will come back. And I have the ability to put away for 10 years, just like you do with your retirement. I can do that. And I'm like, I believe that this in 10 years, and that was 2017. I was like, in 10 years, this is going to be great. So
Yeah.
I just put like modest sums around $200 and I started learning about the technology and paying attention. And there's this thing where I just pick up on things because like you said, energetic learning. I pick up on more than what I'm reading. I pick up on a lot energetically, right? And so you
Yeah.
just start picking up and putting two to two together, putting this together and making this work. And it's just how I'm sort of built on the soul level. Like I
Yeah.
remember I worked with a clairvoyant. She's like, "Oh, this is how your mind works." It was like a drop went in, and then ripple effects went throughout the body. And I was like, "That's literally how it works." Like it goes, and then it filters through every single thing that has ever happened. I get yes, nos intuitively, and like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "This is how it works." And then I find a path, and I'm like, "The path works." And then I find another path, and this path works. And crypto mining, this is how you do it at a low cost. And one of my gifts is like I'm doing crypto mining right now, and one of my gifts is even with the real estate. I can take small sums and grow them into something substantial. And
Yeah.
that's a gift. Like I don't need tons to make something substantial. I need a small amount of system and time. And so with even crypto mining, I'm learning, okay, this is how you take $1,000, $1,500 and
Yeah.
grow that. Or how do I take $200 a month and strategically over 3 years, I grew that to
Yeah.
$150,000 in crypto. And now we're going even, I'm still all in, right? And so that's what I just started doing. And like I said, I pick up a lot energetically and universal knowledge in addition to my
Yeah.
actual physical like actions and research. So when you combine the two, when you're tuned in or open yourself to be tuned in, you just get a lot of different ways to be successful. And now
Yeah.
I am aware of how my learning works, that it's energetic as well as my
Yeah.
physical research and
But
system.
what I love about what you're sharing, and I feel I need to do this because it's one of the ways to process the information and help other people as well. That's to me, it's true alchemy, right? Like what you're just saying right there, even like the just getting from the little, being able to do something big with it. And just thinking about some of the components that you're describing, essentially, I think it's really nice to flesh these things out because I think it's teaching so much on so many different levels for people. So there's the true kind of alchemist, basically, the kind of like, the essence of the alchemist
That's
turning
what my
somebody.
guides said. My
Yeah,
guides,
well,
they're like, you're an alchemist. I'm like, all
I'm a
right,
spirit
okay.
guide myself. But what I love is also what I'm getting is like the difference from people being able to do something with the alchemy from maybe when people don't tap into it. And it's like for you, like you have the backbone and the guts to really freaking trust yourself implicitly, to really go there, even if it is to like have the courage. It takes the level of courage to really hold space for ourselves to turn that information into like do something with it. You do something with it and you run with it and you hold really powerful space,
Mhm.
like from the sounds of it, like to be able to go there, to be able to create that transformation, that growth, that expansion, that wealth. It takes that commitment, like stepping into the energy,
It's
right?
trust in yourself. There's that little trail you're following, right?
Mhm.
Whenever we do something, there's like a little hint of like, I think this could work.
but also like
It's
this thing,
following that.
totally,
Yeah,
totally. But also like you're ready to see the opportunity, and when you see it, you run with it.
I do.
And
I
I
will
think,
say that.
you know what I mean? And it's what I love also, like in a way, because even with the sort of real estate investment and with cryptocurrency, there's a similar theme in like both. You hold very specific strategies that you just know they make so much, there's so much common sense with them. And it's like you're not afraid to like to carve out a niche. You know what I mean? That is very
Yeah.
specific. So for instance,
So
like,
this one little area, this
yeah,
one area, and
and
just
what
focus
I
on
love,
that.
like totally, and like I work with this, like I channel this process called Hestia, which is essentially all about like for a lot of us women, like spiritual women, we need a level of safety to be able to grow and expand, right? Like and especially because there are like leaps of faith to take and step out of our comfort zone, but we need to feel energetically some level of safety. And what I love with the strategy that I kind of saw through your process, your free training course, which I really recommend, I know you're going to leave your link so people can go and access all that, that it just feels safe. Like you have like a low risk strategy that made a lot of sense, even if the investment was going to be very small. And I just really love that it kind of like hits on that level of safety for people. And yeah, it's you're carving out a niche within those. And I think that's so important to have the courage to be able to do it and step into it and not follow necessarily the herd of what, you know, what the other people say about it. So really love about it. So yeah, but like 150K in 3 years through $200 investment, like monthly, you were doing. Wow.
Yeah, and I will say I didn't just do Bitcoin. I did others that
Of course.
I'm talking to your audience. I'm going to say stuff that maybe I wouldn't with my other audience, right? It's just, I don't know. I could just tell this was going to do well. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, obviously. Let me buy $100 worth. Oh, yeah, obviously. And so now I'm aware of what was going on. Like,
Yeah.
no, I created a system around it to explain it, right? But at the level, it's like it is intuitive for me, but there is also strategy that backs up, like you said, the science and the metaphysical work together. And I say the logical and the systematic stuff is a bit, a bit of a science.
Yeah.
It backs up the intuition, and it's just when they work and when you trust them to work together. And I do it at this point a bit naturally. So if my intuition or my body's like yes, I will follow it up with my physical actions and research to make sure they hit all my metrics and criteria. But I mean, and I do that. Like, I don't just go purely on intuition.
Yeah.
But they do work together pretty much 95% of the time. Maybe at some point it's like my intuition says yes, but the numbers are saying no. And then that's what I'll channel on it. And Crypto Alchemy, the first book, I wrote it because it is about like just expanding into crypto. Let's not just do crypto, but let's also take moments to raise our mindset around poverty, be able to hold a higher level of space for more money. How does poverty, when I say, when you say you're a millionaire, how does that feel to you? Go in your body. And I even have a part on talking to intuition, getting the yes or no's from your higher self
I
on
love
if
it.
you can do it. Like, even that's in there. And because for me, I'm trying to go further than everyone else has, and goes, no, you're gonna add intuition and your spirit with me. You are going to work in tandem with both, because that's what I do. And this is like my first introduction to it. And I do love it that it is quite logical, which I'm an engineer by degree. So it taught me how to be very systematic. And I'm naturally sort of geared toward that. That's why I went into engineering. But like I said, it's when you combine the both that you really can't go wrong.
Beautiful. It's a marriage made in heaven. I believe in it. And I'm very like the way I approach like healing work, even like I did it, like my training was like highly technical, and I always saw me as a little bit like, in a way, like a plumber or electrician. Pen in that, I don't like, it's not that I don't resonate. I totally resonate with the woo-woo side, but I think that the way I relate to it, it feels more like the technical perspective and the technical mindset to it. And it's a beautiful art in itself, as is logic and systems and all that kind of stuff. And I love, but this is, you see, this is what I love like about you, is like, this is the essence of the true alchemist. You don't just stay with the mainstream. You will still bring your own personal essence and energy signature to your book, to your knowledge and all that. And I think that's what makes it kind of really special. Now I want to ask you a question that kind of relates to me personally, but also I think for a lot of people at the current economy, right? There's a huge kind of like, like in terms of the sort of, I know both US and the UK, I don't know the rest of the world, to be honest. There's a huge inflation thing going on at the moment,
Yes,
like
ma'am.
massive. So what I want to ask you, and I've written it down,
Mm-hmm.
with the current inflation rates,
Yes.
is it worth taking from what are already stretched resources to invest in crypto, to put some money aside every time, considering that everything else was stretched out? Like, to me, this is the question mark, because back a couple of years, just what happened, like, or even last year, I opened up with one of the, is it Coinbase or Coinbase? I've opened up an account. I was going to start investing. They refunded my money because there was some weird glitch. Like, apparently my name wasn't matching that of the card. So I had to go with the other like company, and I couldn't remember the name. And I kept on postponing it, and I just didn't do it. So, but I was like, I was ready to do it. Now, a year down the line, all these shifts has happened. I've invested in like life insurance. My electricity bill has tripled, petrol, whatever, all that stuff.
Oh goodness, yeah.
What do we like? How do we like make it? Is it worth still like rooting for this and rooting for crypto currency when all these shifts are happening in the economy?
It is, but it's not just this alone. It's also we have to take a deep breath, okay? It's not, if you're really right, we have to take a deep breath and we have to calm and center ourselves, okay? And I say that because this is really big right now for people. And I even had my own moments. That's why I was like, cool with like, let's go into my little money intentions I gave. And there's a lot being thrown at us. And this is definitely Earth School. All of this is Earth School. And everyone is being tested. And what can be the winner is your mindset, your spiritual gifts, and your calmness. And almost not stoicism a little bit, but not being able to be rattled when all this gets thrown at you. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally.
Higher gas prices get thrown at you. Inflation, all of this is getting thrown at you, but there is a solution to all of it if you calm down and let it embrace you. So let me just go deeper into that, because everyone's really worried. So for instance, gas prices are high. Okay, we understand that. But there are solutions to that if you calm down.
Yes, and I love your practical perspective on this, because I know how practically orientated you are, and I think
I'm a very practical Taurus. My moon sign. Yeah.
Of course. So, and I think people would really welcome that wisdom. And I know it's a lot about perspective and all that, but I'd love to hear it from you.
I would, and thank you for asking this, because being spiritual right now, it's being tested.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to say, like, things that came about when I calmed down. And it might not work for you, but I want to show you, when you calm down, it's not all hope is lost, okay? But the Matrix really wants you to believe that, okay? So, okay, about the gas. Okay, it's really high. You know what I did? I had 2 cars that I fully paid off. I sold the one with the 27 mile per gallon. I kept the one with the 41. All right, we're good. I also got a scooter. So if you live less than 7 miles from your house, you can e-scooter to work, okay? There's all different sorts of things that you can do. I have to do that. Okay, so say inflation with food. Yes, it is crazy. I cannot stop complaining to the cashier, and so did the 10 people ahead of me who got to the cashier and saw how much their stuff rang up. And they're like, what? This used to be X amount. Listen, cashiers are getting it all day, okay? Like, I feel so bad, because I'm like, I'm trying not to. But there's also other things that are happening, right? Like, people are starting to garden more to supplement their income. you might not like this, but I'm losing a little weight, you know? So not eating all these carbs. So there are solutions if you see them. I'm on the local food network. you know, I turned and got tuned in to people who the local farmers market where it's not as inflated as the grocery stores. And what I'm saying is that might not be your solution. So if you hear these things and you go, I can't do that. Well,
But
if you don't think you can't,
yeah,
if you don't think you can, you're right.
yeah,
If you think you
totally.
can, you're right. Okay. So
So,
right now, when people give you like show you different ways, you can choose if you're like, oh, it's impossible for me. Well, you're correct. But if you calm down and yes, calm, because I have to do this myself, right? We're all in this matrix. I'm
mhm,
just a little bit more, you know, I have my mystical tools in addition to my practical tools. So I have a little bit more resilient built in because I do have that mystical side that is just as strong, right? But if you don't, if you calm down and let a solution come to you, I'm really big into asking God or your guides for like, well, how am I going to get out of this? And with calmness, instead of letting this matrix rattle you, because now we're getting into
so
spiritual warfare. They're trying to rattle you. They're trying
yeah,
to shake you and lose your
you
faith.
know,
But when you calm down, it comes through.
it comes back to this thing about like being, again, connecting with a sort of multitude of possibilities out there, and in a way choosing to make it enough of a priority, the things that matter to us, like to want to do it, and kind of in a way choose it, right? But it's like, are we focusing on the lack, or are we focusing on all the possibilities? It's
Right.
totally true. And I wanted to ask this question because, say, like, I've had like a significant growth in my income, but I'm also aware that that wasn't the case when I was working for an employer, and it was always pretty steady for consistently. So I trust in this growth and that is kind of happening. And like, I invested in a cleaner and I started like feeling a little bit freer, doing more holidays. So I love that. And I know that essentially is about choosing to make it a priority. And I'd love to hear from you. What's the minimum that you think that we can, like, because you know, like this mentality of like, even like, say, going to the gym, right? Like people say, oh, if I don't like stay for like an hour, what's the point? And actually we forget that incremental shifts and changes and just
Yes.
putting a little bit, that it really matters, you know? So I really believe in incremental energy shifts. Like, what do you feel could be that like minimum of investment we do on a monthly basis? If we were to think about it as a monthly commitment, what's the minimum we could look at that would be worth the while for somebody like me who's 44, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
I was actually, when you said that, I was like, yeah, let me tie this back into crypto. Okay. So
yeah, yeah.
you honestly, I would say if you really want to start seeing like the movements, like at least $40 a month.
Cool. That's
10, you can do 10 or 5. There's some people like my sister, she makes minimum wage 5, right? 5 a month will turn into 2,000, right? In a few years, even because it's not just how much you put in, it's the appreciation, it's the cycle, it's the buy-in, it's the institute, it's all of that going into it. So for very low income wage earners, 5, and that's in my family, right? Then if you are stretched, but you do have an income, you make anywhere from like 20 to 40K a year, get it to like $40 a month, right? Just real
yeah, no,
numbers.
that's
But
great.
if you're at a higher level, right, and you can, 100. If you're a little nervous, but you do see that this is the future, my analogy for crypto is to the dollar the way Netflix is to Blockbuster.
Yeah,
So you can mess around all you want,
yeah,
but where's Blockbuster right now? Where's Netflix?
exactly. Yeah,
Right?
I
So
love
it's like you can take your time or you can get in,
yeah,
right? But we know in 5, 6 years, 7 years, what happened to that chain. There's one
yeah,
left in Oregon and it's there for nostalgia. So if you can see the vision, which I really try to show people, because some of us can see and others can't. So I really try to show them this is where this is going. We can see it.
yeah.
So if you can get
So
just a
true.
little stake, it
Yeah,
makes such a difference. So if that's 10 a month or
yeah,
10 a week, do it. Now, there are some times where 10 a week is tough because you don't have the 10. Okay. So if it's 10 a month, your incremental is absolutely correct because it's all about starting where you are and don't stress over this. But can you do 10? Listen, I can't even get a burger without spending $16. All right. So I know you got $10. I
oh
know
yeah,
you do.
i
Anytime
i
I eat out, it's $16 to $30, where it used to be 10 to 20. All right. So I know you got it.
Get
It's
it.
just priorities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also being inventive. And in a way, it's this thing of setting the intention, right? Like we talked about at the beginning, getting clear and the vision that you're talking about. And I know you have a membership, like it's like $27 or something like that, membership for cryptocurrency. So in a way, it's the thing that some people might need a little bit of holding around. I'm good with the mindset stuff. I know how to hold space for myself. And it's like, it's this thing of like holding the vision close to, because the ups and downs of the current reality will always happen, but the vision is what keeps things moving, right? And maybe getting a little bit creative about the way that we could make that extra $50. Like, I know I can totally invest the $50 a month, and I need to stop using as an excuse, oh, that Coinbase didn't work and I haven't set up an account. I just need to go and do it now. But yeah, and maybe like holding the vision, getting clear with that intention, and in a way allowing ourselves maybe to go through the motions with it, because it will go up and it will go down, and that's been happening. Like it's the name of the game, right, with cryptocurrency.
And Samaya, half of the job I literally am doing, I have all the technical and how to do the research and how to do that. Half my job is getting people to see the vision. Most of what I wrote about, if you saw that training, is literally, because I know they can't.
Yeah.
Is going, okay, do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see that? Now, and then a few more steps, because you can't just jump into this. Do you see this now? And I get buy-in at every step. Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand? Yeah. And then when we get to the end and they see the vision, that's when they take action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think this is huge. And that's in a way, isn't that the kind of secret sauce to most things, kind of experiencing some success in most things, right? Do you have any, I know I'm aware of time, so we can sort of close this soon, but I'd love to know, are there any like coins at the moment? What's the kind of current coins that you really recommend that you think are a really good investment in?
Okay, what did I just invest in? Like recently. So I invest in altcoins. In addition to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin I have, so I've made enough in Bitcoin and I have it staked. So I'm making passive income where I make anywhere from 200 to 400 a month, depending on the, how high it goes, and Bitcoin passive income. So I'm actually not purchasing Bitcoin because my investments are making Bitcoin payments every week and every day for me, right? Nice. So otherwise, but for the first 3 years, I did do the 200 in Bitcoin, right? And Ether. Yeah. But yeah, so I let those ride. So the money I have that's free, I invest in altcoins. And I have a system. So I have a book called Rich Cryptocurrency Do I Buy? So I have a very, very specific systems of all the metrics, just like in real estate, that I hit. And if it hits those metrics, I am a buyer. I'm like, ooh, okay. Ooh, this is a good one. And it's really, yeah, really good. So I will say the one that I just invested in one, then they got hacked. So we'll have to see if it makes it past that. That's Step In, and that's a coin that everyone's trying to get right now. And it's a coin where like you download an app. The actual technology is you download an app, and as you walk around, you get points for movement. So if you go jogging, if you go walking, and so it combines like real world results of like, well, I'm jogging and walking, which is good for my own health, but I'm also earning step-in coins. And it's really popular. You could barely get an invite. I have not gotten an invite yet because they only give them out twice a day. And millions of people are trying to get an invite so that they can start earning for walking and jogging, right? Their real life results. But I did purchase the coin. They did get hacked, but in crypto, you have to see if the team will be resilient enough to come back or if it'll fall. I think it'll be resilient enough to come back. So I purchased that. And that's a really, really fun one. I also like to go into decentralized exchange coins because as Coinbase and Binance get more regulatory, these decentralized exchanges that are on your wallets, that are on this connected to your the most popular one is what is this wallet called? I don't know. MetaMask. They're going to be really, they are really popular for getting coins that you can't get access to because it's regulatorily banned from Coinbase, but that's not going to stop Americans. There just isn't. So I'm really into decentralized. They're called DEXs, decentralized exchange coins. So I just got Bancor because that's super undervalued for how much volume and money they make each day and how stable and reliable they are and how pristine, no hacks there. right? I like the interface as well. And just different avenues. So
Yeah,
I do a
love
thing
it.
where I listen to popular YouTubers. So I do have a daily for me, because I think I would say I'm a little bit more advanced level. And
Yeah,
to stay advanced, you got to keep your ear on. So I have a few of my favorite different from mining people, because I'm starting crypto mining. I'm actually going to do a master class on that,
nice.
passive income and crypto mining, but easy and low cost. So you don't have to pay
Yeah,
$50,000 for a miner. You can pay $900 and make $1.50 a day, which is actually a really good trade-off for,
right,
$45 a month for 1,200 bucks. That's good. That is really
great,
good.
great, great.
Even my that's even a little bit better than how much we make in real estate, even though I actually do make a lot. So all these different aspects, and so that sort of so I keep my ear to the ground with certain people I listen to between all those spectrums, so I
Yeah,
pretty much know what's going on and what's new, as well as just checking out hot new coins that get listed on the exchanges. That's a really good one, because they get it listed for very small amounts, but like I said, I can ask intuition or just know this is
yeah,
going to make
there's
it. And
value there.
just throw
Awesome.
$10 at it off a Q coin is actually a strategy. Like I said, as long as it hits my metrics.
It's gorgeous. I love the fact even that you have a system around those metrics that we can all check out and see, I guess, if it's worth investing. So tell me how people can connect with you if they want to learn more from you, if they want to like really kind of want more of this, really, either for real estate or Bitcoin. I love your group, by the way. It's like Bitcoin for normal people or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for normal people. I like that. So is the group both for, I think it's for real estate investment as well as cryptocurrency. Am I
I have
right?
two
Or,
groups for the real
okay.
estate investing. It's the sub 30K mastermind group. So that's about 12,000 investors from all across the country who are investing in the lower price ranges, working class project areas. But like I said, we're all from there, so it's not that big a deal. And then the crypto for beginners and normal people. It's always important to get like a Facebook group just to sort of
Yeah,
like
I think
give
so. It's a way
communicate.
in, right? And it's
Mhm.
separate. So we're going to have the links below. And obviously, for those who resonate, do you like, obviously, this white girl kind of sneaked into your group, but I
Yeah,
know
I know, it's okay. Yeah, I know. So,
you mainly
and the
serve
reason
African American.
yeah, I positioned it that way because when I spoke, that's
Yeah,
who responded. And so I'm like, okay, so I talked to them. And it's also cool. So if I use certain language, you already know going into it exactly that I'll be doing
I
that. And it's not
totally,
shocking. So it's just
I'm,
boundaries,
I
but you're
meant,
more than
yeah.
welcomed in, right? And so
I
people,
mention it just so that people feel that they're not disrespectful
yeah,
if they ask to join your group, that they know
yeah,
they can do. But also I want to leave the link below of like the online stuff that you do, like people who might want to go straight into your free courses or your
yes.
like to invest in your courses, because you have some really in-depth information. Like I learned so much from your introductory course to cryptocurrency.
Yes, I highly recommend that, because that one is getting people to understand the real practical
Yeah,
vision and
yeah,
flow of money, to
yeah,
see that this is going there. And like I said, once you get that, you're going to be okay with like taking it upon yourself to prioritize even just a little bit, but you'll
yeah,
see why. So I highly recommend everyone take that, because right now I'm trying to get
yeah, I
on it
do
because
too.
it's so easy with a little bit of time and understanding to get really big results. And listen, I've been in real estate, I've been in all these other things. This has been a lot easier to hit that 6-figure mark.
Yeah. Gosh, and in such a short period of time,
Yeah.
it's incredible, right? Like
Hmm.
it's amazing what can be achieved. So this has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and go into all this. And obviously we'll leave the links below. Is there anything before we go that you want to like share with people? Anything that you feel that hasn't been said that would be good to communicate about?
I did. It's not really on everything we've been going over, but it is about money. So right
Yes.
now, have fun. Like I know for manifesting, we manifest things in our business, but I've actually been having a lot of fun in asking the universe to show me unexpected money, surprise money. And
Yeah.
I do those asks like every day, and I'm always like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at this. Yeah, I could
Yeah.
clearly sell this thing for $1,500. I just didn't, but all of a sudden when I do those asks, all these things start filtering through. So I just want to put out there, it's going to be rough economically for those who get rattled. But if you can stay the course and just keep asking or manifesting unexpected, within my business, surprise, fun money. Get a little fun and creative with asking the different things of the universe, and let money can come to you in so many different ways. So I usually was just really focused on like, okay, more clients and business manifestation. But now I'm having a lot of fun with like the unexpected money. And I'm like, even more universe, I am loving this. And it's crazy. It's from selling things that are just sitting there for like, $1,000, or random business, people sending you money. It's really fun. So it's gonna be a crazy world out there, but try to center yourself. Centering is first, and then just have fun and just keep asking and ask until you receive, and ask different things. And it doesn't have to be straightforward how this comes to you, but if you tap in and tune in, it can come in from all different sources. And this is for those who need it, who, like me and you, Samaya, we understand the connection and how to get that help and assistance. So we're going to be okay regardless, even if our bank account might show up a little lower than we like, but we still keep that faith and like, listen, we've turned this around before. Let me just get deeper into this or do this. But for those out there who might be getting rattled, you can do it, but just have fun with asking from unexpected. I've been having such a good time with that.
I love that advice. It's such a cool one. The mantra I've been living from since last year was, I get paid for being myself. In a way, it eliminates any issues about, have I positioned myself well? Have I done? No. We don't care about that. I'm just who I am, and I get paid. I don't even care if it's from a business, where it's coming from. Money just comes, and it just cleared a lot of shit that felt like was kind of blocking me on a mental level of how money, belief systems of how money had to come in, or how I need to drop. So it just clears through everything. So I love that advice. It's been such a pleasure. Your book also, Crypto Alchemy, we'll leave the link below, people who want to buy it. I hope we get to do this again.
Yes, I'd love to, because we have so many dimensions to go into. And I'd love to share my everyday that I say to myself and affirm is, I can afford to buy everything I want. Not anything I want, everything I want. And it's funny, I'm like, can I? And a way opens up. I'm like, oh, I love this. So that's my daily mindset, affirmation, manifestation. So, and I'm sharing this because world out there, we need you to step into your power and say it every day. Figure out what you want to say, take from us, but do it until it works. Do it until you start seeing it actually is true, because that's how this works.
I love it. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody who have watched this. Please share with your friends, with your family, subscribe to this channel below, like the video, comment below if you have any questions, follow Lisa in her social media, and we will see you again very soon. All the best. Bye.